What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the opinionated hippie, with what is looking to be the last video in my Moody Blues deep dive into their studio albums. A dive I had never made ever in my life. Only really knew. I listened to two. I explain it, but anyways, this is the last of their studio albums. Not officially. There is one more. I thought this was the second to last, but I just discovered like minutes ago that final album, aptly named December, for lots of reasons, but also in the case of why I'm not going to review it within the next week, is because it's a Christmas album, apparently, and I don't like Christmas albums. I will do it in December when it's appropriate. I'll do probably a handful of Christmas albums prior to Christmas just to get into the season, since here in Texas it'll probably be 85 degrees and I'll need something to make me feel Christmassy. But yeah, this is the last one for now. It is Strange Times. Their 15th album came out in 1999. The members of the band that are here at this point are Hayward, Lodge, Thomas, and Edge. Plus, there's an additional personnel, Danilo, Danilo, Danilo Madiona, keyboards, organ, orchestration. There are strings on this. And for an album called Strange Times, it's not a very strange album. And maybe it's called Strange Times because this is 1999. And other than two songs that have oddly, weirdly out of place kind of drum tracks, electronic drums, that sound more 1999, but then don't. It's a very 70s, 80s soft rock album. There is, not trying to be insulting here, but there seems like a lack of ambition to, they're definitely not looking to break any new ground. This is a band who's very comfortable with who they are and their soft rock vibe and that 80s pop rock vibe that they kind of had a resurgence of popularity with in, of all times, the 80s. A little bit of that is still here. Probably the weirdest song on here is the title track, Strange Times, and even that song's really not all that weird at all. It just has some modern drums with some old school Moody Blues vibe, and just that contrast works really well, but it's kind of not a weird song. Yeah, I mean, it's just the Moody Blues doing the soft rock chill thing. It's almost an hour long, so they did at least, had a lot to say on this one. It does feel like a final album. I know the next one is a Christmas one, so maybe that one shouldn't count. But because the last song, Nothing Changes, has like some old school narration like they used to do, has sort of this very classical movie ending type, hey, this is the end type thing. The title Nothing Changes is like, that's, weird. Things do change, and this might be your last album. But then again, maybe it's a commentary on the fact that nothing does change because we sound like our Moody Blues of old. And the title track, Strange Times, which is like, yeah, this is weird. It's 99, but we sound like the last 2 decades never even happened. Not offensive in any way, shape, or form, but I can't say it was utterly compelling, hardly at all. English Sunset, the opening, is maybe the most jarring because there's so many modern drum sounds with just songwriting that just doesn't sound 90s-ish. This is just kind of upbeat Moody's pop. It kind of feels a little, I don't know if it does feel like an English Sunset, to be honest with you. I don't know. I did go to see a Waterloo Sunset once. The first time I was in London, I was like, I'm going to make sure I'm at Waterloo Station at sunset. It was crowded. It's a weird song, lots of synth, weird drums, a skeletal guitar riff that kind of repeats itself. Not a bad opener, but it definitely didn't blow me away. Haunted, soft rock vibe with a little Spandau ballet, sort of like that sort of white boy soul that was big in the early 80s, the Simply Red, Spandau Ballet, a little bit of the Thompson Twins type stuff, that kind of vocal type style, a little endearing. Sooner or Later, Walking on Air, The song is a light pop. I mean, it feels like you're walking on air. They've accomplished the musical equivalent of walking on air for lyrics about that. This song, and there's a number of others on here, have really tasty guitar parts. Like, I guess solos, but they're also really melodic and usually tied in pretty tightly to the actual song. They're not flashy in any way, shape, or form. They're definitely not shreddy, but they always work perfectly. It's like a cook who has like a favorite sort of seasoning, but they don't use it in every dish. But when they use it, it pops, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm glad they threw a little bit of that in this dish. It just really well done. The guitar playing, not going to win any awards in Guitar Player Magazine for best guitar work or anything like that, but it fits the songs and it's tasty, really tasty stuff, and it's a nice contrast to the string sounds, the synth sounds, the other more like not electric guitar sounds that exist on this album. But that pops up for the first time in Sooner or Later. Let's see. Love Don't Come Easy has some pretty good guitar in there. All That Real Is You has some nice guitar in there. Forever Now, some nice guitar. The One, which the third to last song, out of nowhere brings this whole dose of kind of weird pop energy with almost like these proggy guitar runs throughout it. Really nice guitar playing in there. It's a lot more aggressive, but not like harsh hard rock metal aggressive, but for this band aggressive, for this album aggressive particularly. But that's towards the end, and that kind of pops up out of nowhere. Some great acoustic guitar playing throughout here, some nice finger picking stuff, some nice strumming stuff. Sounds really good. But where were we? We were back on Sooner or Later, Walking on Air. Wherever You Are, light pop. Foolish Love, kind of mid-tempo pop 80s vibe, like what they were doing back in the 80s when they kind of came back. Love Don't Come Easy. Starts off with some really nice strumming stuff before we go into like a mid-tempo soft rock groove. All That Real Is You. Yeah, it's a waltz. Dun, 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 it says, I don't know if it's an actual, I think it is an actual waltz. It's in 3, but it's a very slow, kind of waltzy, back and forth type vibe. Strange Times. The strangest song on here, though it's not that strange, but it's mainly the drums and the contrast with the kind of light upbeat pop. It just works well. Kind of a fun song. Words You Say. First half of it, I think it's just like strings and a voice, and then the band kind of gently comes in after that. Very slow, that kind of orchestral type ballady stuff. My Little Lovely, nice little lovely little song, acoustic jaunty, like acoustic type little bouncy type thing that just kind of short. It's it's lovely, very English sounding. Forever Now, another just slow, tasty guitar in here, kind of a gentle acoustic song, lots of strings. The One, just this weird pop song that pops out of nowhere. The Swallow, pleasant, soft rock, nice little gentle groove, and then Nothing Changes, the closing track, has spoken word parts and this kind of big instrumental vibe that suits the ending of not only an album, but possibly a career, but in like a really good, like, hey, we did what we wanted to do. We're proud of what we did. We're just going to continue being who we are, but just this phase is over. I don't, even though it's not, because they had to drop a Christmas album, which I'm just going to assume was a mistake. It is conceptually, but I don't know. Inoffensive, a completely inoffensive album. A weird album for 1999 to think the Moody Blues were like, yeah, this is what the world needs. I don't know. Where would I rank this among the others? I have it at the second to last. I think it's a little more, just not as bad sound as that Sur la Mer. A really strong, surprisingly strong catalog. It's not until you get to those last 3 I think there's any sort of significant dip. I even think that more recent Keys of the Kingdom was surprisingly strong. The Present, surprisingly strong. And then Long Distance Voyager, which is a relatively recent, comes in at number 2. Yeah. I'm done officially. So I'm excited to go back and like kind of re-listen to these, and maybe these opinions based on only a handful of listens for the first time might change. I just started doing this, probably maybe a little over 15 weeks ago. I think I'm averaging about 1 a week, but I think there were some gaps in there. So maybe about 3 months ago or so, maybe 4 months. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed this. interested to go back to those early ones and on this list and re-listen. But yeah, I'll have a favorite song list soon just because I have favorite songs. And that's it. It's fun. And then I'll drop the Christmas album in Christmas and I'll throw it on this list and see where it falls. I'm predicting it's 16 by virtue of the fact that it's a Christmas album. Hope I'm wrong and am surprised, but I don't think I will be. But yeah, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, share, comment. Let me know your thoughts on the Moodies, on this album, blah, 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 all that stuff. And peace. Talk to you later.